I know we've beaten the versatility drum like crazy, but it's true. That's what you're getting. I think if you are thinking 6'9", pick and pop, he is that, but he's a lot more than that. And when I say a lot more than that, I mean buckle up, because there's a lot of stuff that he does that will make you go, whoa, both good and bad at times. Some of it can be shot selection. It's part of the reason why, as he got more opportunity, as he went from 2.5 attempts from three his junior year to last year having about 4.1 attempts a game from three, and almost, going from 6.3 field goal attempts to 8.8. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. And I think his role in that offense last year at Baylor, he was in a position where he took some more, I guess the degree of difficulty was higher than it was when he had Jared Butler, Maceo Teague, Davion Mitchell, much more catch and shoot opportunities. He was doing a lot more off the dribble last year. And that was the reason why he had that dip in percentage. But it's really fascinating when you break down the numbers for him. And I'm going to say this, and you're going to be like, hey, Mike, maybe go back and check that again, because it doesn't sound right. But when you break down his spot up opportunities last year, he was in the 91 percentile when he was guarded. And when he was unguarded, he was in the 16 percentile. It's crazy. I think that his unguarded shots was something like 9 of 34, and his guarded shots were like 18 of 40, which is getting close to 50%. So you imagine that that's going to make its way. Water's going to find its level there.
Right.
He may not be as good guarded, but he's certainly going to be better unguarded. So you expect an increase there. But look, as you break down all the synergy numbers, I think the thing that sticks out to you the most, especially offensively, is there is this laundry list of possessions that he had in different spots, right? You talk about pick and roll ball handler, almost 50 possessions last year. For a guy at 6'9", that's insane. You look at isolation, you look at handoff, you look at off the screen, you look at post up, pick and roll man. He had a couple possession of those where he's setting in the screen and he's rolling. So he does a lot, man. And I think he is in a position this year, especially with the pieces around him. Man, like I said, if I'm these freshmen, I'm licking my chops, because if you're a guy that wants to play fast, you got the guys around you to do it.
Yeah, and obviously, Mike, this team is so long. It is so athletic. Like I tweeted out last year's backcourt, right? Or last year's starting lineup. Yeah. 6'1", 6'1", 6'3", 6'10", 7 foot. Not a bad front court when you got Coleman and Kofi there. But this year, you have 6'3" Sky Clark or Jaden Epps, whoever you want to put there. Probably Sky Clark. Then Terrence Shannon, 6'6". RJ Melendez, 6'7". Matthew Myers, 6'9". Coleman Hawkins, 6'10". Dane Danger is 6'9". Ty Rogers is 6'6". Who Goody's 6'6", 6'7" probably at this point. That's so much more length. It's so much more versatility. And Brad Underwood said he wants to play faster, be more versatile. How do you think this all works? I don't know how much time it's going to take, but I feel like it's going to be entertaining. This is going to be a fun team to watch.
It's going to take time, like anything. Look at that Michigan team last year. I know it's a little bit different because it felt like the majority of their guys were true freshmen. And you have some of that with this Illinois team. I wouldn't expect, them to start the year 16-0. I know how exciting it is right now, but you're going to have the acclimation process. And I've said it before, but you can say, hey, they have a whole off season, or, a spring, and then they have the summer when the guys get on campus, and then they have the fall, and then they have the season. It is different. It's just different when the lights are on, right? The guys that really blow up in the summer and look great, things can change when minutes get allocated, shots get allocated. All that stuff has to come into account here. And you're looking at a guy like Terrence Shannon and a guy like Matthew Meyer, who, let's be real, these past couple of years in the Big 12, they haven't been the guy, right, on their team. And if you look at this Illinois roster, you can still sit here and ask yourself who that's going to be. So that's going to have to work itself out. I know I've talked about role identification like crazy, but the quicker that they can figure that out, and it's going to be a process, the better off they are come February and March. But this isn't going to be one of those situations where, hey, if they drop a questionable one in late December or early January, start hitting the panic button. It's not going to be it. It's going to be a whole long process. So I just mentioned that Michigan team, and think about when they started to come around. I mean, that was truly mid-February where you're like, oh yeah, you know what? They could beat some teams. So gonna be a process, but man, all you want to do is put yourself in a position with the pieces, right? If you have the pieces, I'm even sitting here just like writing it out. Sky, RJ, Ty Rogers, Matthew Meyer, Coleman Hawkins. There's so many fun lineups to play with, and how that all gets shaken out, who steps up where, who decides to step up and be a leader. That's what makes all this fun, man.
Mike, explain this to me like I'm 5, like I'm Michael Scott here. You played out there. When the lineup is 6'3" to 6'10", and like it's that, what does that like actually do on the floor when you have that much length and size?
The court looks different, that's for sure. It looks, it looks way more congested. Driving lanes you think are there are not there because of the ground that's covered. Think back to that Baylor game. If we're on the Matthew Meyer topic, think back to that Baylor game a couple of years ago. It was the crazy thing about it. I'm watching Adam Miller, and the space that you think you have, whether to drive or even catch and shoot, those gaps close so much quicker than you're used to. And it's a rhythm thing. You're not in rhythm as an offense. It's, you're seeing bodies everywhere you go. If you have a team that's actually bought into playing great defense and also has that length and size, that's a whole nother story. Because now you have the discipline aspect to it, to where you truly feel like there's nowhere to go. And you look at all the teams in the tournament this year that were great, that played really well and made it far. It's those teams that raised their floor, because every single night they rolled out there, they had those intent, or they had those measurables, if you will, and it's the Houstons, it's even North Carolina had that size and had that length. Those are the teams that can go far, because when you're relying on just the shooting and the 3-point variance game to game, that's when you can start to see early exits, right? So it's something that this Illinois team hasn't had, I say, over the years. I mean, when is the last time that they've even had? You think about D. Darren and Luther. I mean, this is even a bigger lineup than that, a longer lineup than that. And I'm not comparing it to that, but it's going to be different. So it makes the game more difficult. It's harder to game plan for, because as much as you want as a Big Ten team, think about this, as a Big Ten team, hey, we're playing Illinois scout team, let's replicate it. You can't, as much as you want to go out there. I had my fair share of scout team minutes, but I can't sit there and, replicate Karis LeVert, right? I can wear the Karis LeVert jersey, but I can't replicate it. It's just,
they give you like brooms for that. They give you like
it's different when you're out there. I remember my freshman year, the scout team was the managers, and they just wore football pads. That was like the closest we could get to replicating any of it. So that's going to be the part of it too. You can scout for it, and you can be Chris Holtman, and you can be Matt Painter and be like, hey, team has a lot of length, they're great defensively. It's going to be a different story when you get out there and you see it.